So I want to talk about the high-level abstraction of our operations framework and how we do that. So we're going to start off with our leadership, and we'd like to make it cute because that's more fun. Well, that's our leadership layer. And what we do is we operate like we're a machine. Okay, so y'all have to help me with spelling too, because I'll probably misspell stuff. And you can help me out. All right, so Athena, we know we have goals. That feed into our machine. And when we get out the other side are outcomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is the machine made of?
People.
People.
And design.
And design. So I hope, I'm talking a lot facing the board, so I hope this comes through. So I think it will. This might work. All right, so we have a machine, we feed it goals, and out the other side comes some kind of outcome, right? Mm-hmm. So our machine is made up of two things. It's made up of people and design. So let's break down design first. Design, what's our strategy is people, process, technology. So we have people, so our design is made up of process. Mm-hmm. And technology. We'll abbreviate that one. People, the main focus around our people part of the equation is their knowledge, thinking, and their abilities, right? So we're going to put thinking. And abilities. Okay, so we have a little machine now. We feed it some goals, goes through the machine, comes out the other side. So now we're going to do some work. Our machine is made of people that have various knowledge for their role and various proven demonstrated abilities as to their competency to fulfill those roles. And that's how this works. Goals primarily come, we can break down, we're going to drill in and out on some of these things, right? So one of the first things we do is when we look at outcomes, we wanted to decide whether or not our machine is producing the right product. So we're going to ask a couple of questions. Are the outcomes good or bad? What's the primary way we determine what mechanism do we use, what methodology do we use to determine if our outcomes are good or bad?
We look at the goals.
Yeah, we can go back and compare that to the original goal, right? Okay, so to dig even deeper here, how do we know if we're continually doing a good job?
As long as our outcomes are good and there were no issues with the machine.
Okay, so we're going to do some additional testing there, and we're going to use metrics, right? And we're going to tell a story based on those metrics, and not in this recording, but we'll come back to that and really drill down deeper on that. But I want to talk about a couple of things there that we'll ask ourselves around this piece of the metric story. One of those are metrics. Let's go metrics story. We're going to capture it at two different levels. We're going to capture it at the team level and the individual level. Okay, so we have some framework. We're going to look at our overall team and we're going to look at our individuals. So to do that, we're going to use one primary measurement, our KPIs, right? What are key performance indicators? In our key performance indicators, we're just drilling down a little bit on how this part of the machine works, right? And we'll do more later. Our KPIs should do two things. They should
tell us the efficiency and what the results were from.
KPIs are going to tell us, or should be predictive.
Yeah.
Right? Are they predictive? If I do this well, is that predictive of me satisfying my goals? So predictive. And they should also be influenceable. Right?
I need to go back to It's okay.
Okay, so there are tons of KPIs we can capture. We can capture the temperature outside, but it's not predictive, and we can't really influence it, right? Okay, so I've got a metric, it's 69 outside, but that's just a metric. It's not a story. So, but if I know that my velocity needs to be 100 and I run a 69, that tells me a story. So if I'm tracking numbers, if I do 100 per cycle, that's predictive of success, and I can influence that number. I can work with people and design in order to move that number.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a breakdown of just one piece to show you how we can drill into these parts of the puzzle. So there's two other things I want to add to this. One is when we look at these structures and when we look at the machine and our operational framework, we've learned some strategies, right? And it's called continuous improvement. It's part of the Toyota way. We constantly want to go through processes of getting better, right? So in that we have continuous reflection, continuous improvement, and continuous investment. Okay. So these are principles that we know are good for our results. Continuous reflection, continuous improvement, and continuous investment. How can that fit into our model? What do you think correlates with continuous reflection?
Repeatedly meeting our goals and having a good outcome.
So, okay. So what do our leaders do?
Are they looking at the metrics?
We're always,
Right.
going, watching the metrics and
Yeah.
keeping up
So
with
why
them.
do I put the leader up top?
Because they're overseeing
Right.
everything.
You ever looked at the back of a dollar bill at the pyramid?
Mm-hmm.
And above the pyramid, what is it?
The all-seeing eye.
The all-seeing eye. Something else you can notice about that is it's separated from the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, pyramids are how society for years have discussed hierarchies, right? And in a competence hierarchy, your least competent people stack up at the bottom, and you climb the ladder of competence until you get to the top, and your most competent people are generally at the top. But then something transcends that just a little bit, and it's that all-seeing eye. And the eye really derives from something from the original gods, Marduk, and he had eyes all the way around his head. And what it signified was he paid attention. It's paying attention. And that's what the leadership role is, to pay attention, to be observant, continuously reflecting on our status, right? And so I'm going to take that layer and say, this part of the model is our continuous reflection piece, right? So continuous improvement fits nicely in this scope, right? This is where we drill into the metrics. We find the trends. We find the pieces that we need. We'll go deeper into this and model how we do metric storing. But this is the piece where continuous improvement happens.
Right.
So what does that leave for continuous investment?
That would be it.
Okay, so once the all-seeing eye, the observer, the one who pays attention, looks at the machine, evaluates the outcomes, he needs to go and invest
There's people in
in
it.
his people, his process, and his technology, right?
Yeah.
See how that fits?
Yeah.
Right? All right, so having this framework helps us as leaders to look at our process, to look at this and decide, are we on model, right? And if we have failure, when we have a bad outcome, we can go look at our model and determine, oh, this is a people problem. I got the wrong person in the wrong role, or this person has the knowledge, but not quite the ability. The example I give over and over and over is, no matter how much knowledge I obtain, I'll never be a brain surgeon. I simply will never have that ability, right? I can know a lot about it, but I just don't have that proven ability, right? And you don't want me doing brain surgery. So then, then we reflect on our process and our technology.
Yeah.
What holes do we have in? Okay, I want to add one more layer to this, and this is going to be new to you guys because we haven't talked about it yet. But one of the projects the SMs have been working on is daily management. And what daily management does is try to look at our process on a daily basis, not at the end of the cycle every time, but daily, right? There's three key things they look for. They look for win-lose. Are we winning or are we losing, right? And they want to see that in a snapshot. They want to be able to look at a chart and say, green, we're winning, or yellow, or red, we're not winning, right? We need to pay attention. Part of that is trending through, let's use a sprint for an example. If you're going through a sprint, you're trending as you go through. And if you see, oh, we're red right now because we're not on track, right, to meet our commitments. And then the last aspect of that is our strategy, right? What is our risk mitigation plan? What are we going to do to get back on track? So every day, every leader, every team leader, every SM should have the ability, what's my status? Are we winning or are we losing? What's the trend? Are we going to meet our commitments by the end of the sprint or the end of the cycle? What are our risk mitigation plans if we identify those things? Now, okay, we talked about this and how it fits in our model. How do you think daily management fits in our model? Does it encompass the goals part? If you read this left to right.
I would say it would be more of the goals and the machine, because a lot of times with the teams, you do have certain people doing certain aspects.
So that's close. I'm going to say that you should consider this in your goals for planning, but it's not daily management in the aspect of execution. So this execution model is our scheme model, right? All right, so this guy, the all-seeing eye, the observer, is going to come in
down here.
In daily management.
Yeah, it would cover the
is going to fall in here. Daily management is a huge part of our overall process to determine not just post-cycle at the end, and we do our reflection, and then we make improvements, and then we invest in our people, our process, and our technology, but it also keeps us on track day to day to look for failure or to look for
and to see it before it becomes the outcome.
Yes.